All right, we are doing it live. Uh, so, um, Yesterday I got access to OpenAI's new reasoning model O1 in the API. I was very happy to get it, and I jumped into the OpenAI cookbook, their GitHub repository, and an article which was kind of given a little exercise you could do with O1 to see some of the stuff it can do. Anyway, I prefer to do stuff in Colab generally. I find it's just a really, really easy way to just quickly test things with little AI projects. So I took the cookbook recipe that one of the team at OpenAI produced, and I ported it over to a Colab and just made it a little bit easier to use within Colab. And so I'm going to run you through that now. And basically what this exercise does, it's quite a nice little exercise to do. Kind of gives you a sense of some of the power that O1 may have, especially when it comes to potentially helping you create agentic systems. So systems where you are fielding out a bunch of instructions and activities to AI agents that could be delivered via smaller models, say like GPT-4o Mini, rather than having to use a big powerful model like O1. Anyway, you'll see more what this is all about as we kind of jump into it. So what we're going to do in this example is basically we're going to load some knowledge articles from OpenAI. So these are like how to help guide articles. And then what the O1 reasoning model is going to do is it's going to turn those knowledge articles into something that is called routines, which are basically like step-by-step instructions which you could give to other AI models or AI agents to potentially carry out actions. And in creating these routines, what O1 does is it will break them out into main tasks, but then sub-actions with kind of logic paths and routings, and also kind of factoring in things like where a user may need to input something and then the AI has to do something as a result of that as well. And the kind of example that we're talking about here is like using these help articles to build an agentic system which could help with a platform delivering customer support. What's really cool also about O1 is that it can also create function calls to like internal tools. So for example, if you had a bunch of internal APIs in your platform that you wanted AI agents to be able to do stuff with, O1 can also kind of output the architecture for those as well in these routines. Anyway, you'll get a sense of what we're looking at here. So I set this up in a Colab Notebook just so it's super easy for you to get started. All you will need is an OpenAI API key with access to the O1 reasoning model. Cool, so a little bit of artwork there, AI generated. Don't know, just like to put that in. Anyway, what I want to do is just like give full credit to the original source material. So this is the original article that is based. Oh, where's it gone? Let me find that. Hold on. Where's that gone? Okay. There it is. There's the article. I need to correct that. Okay, I'll correct that in the final notebook. But yeah, this is the article by Roy Ziv at OpenAI. And basically like it talks through the task. And one of the things that kind of Roy Ziv talks about here is that when you're trying to kind of build potentially systems around LLMs, those systems kind of need to be based on potentially existing processes which you might be trying to automate. And those processes may be kind of loosely defined in like knowledge articles or how-to guides, but those how-to guides weren't ever really written in a way that could be used by systems. So what O1 is going to do is basically turn those help articles into routines or basically a schema, a set of actions that could be used in a system of AI agents potentially carrying them out. So anyway, this is the article. The code is all in there. I've done very little with the code for this. Well, so this basically ports most of that code across, except what I've done is just made it a bit easier to use in Colab. There's also a GitHub link as well, and that's included in the Colab Notebook. So if you want to go to the original go to the original GitHub code, you can do that. Cool. So we're going to jump straight into it. First thing we're going to do is install the OpenAI Python library. That's going to take a minute or two, I guess, actually. Cool. And while that's doing that, the other thing I'll talk through here. So what I like to do in my Colab notebooks is to make it super easy to access your OpenAI API key. So if you want to, you can just add your key into this secrets part of your Colab notebook. And here you see all you have to do is, once you've got your OpenAI key, is to add it with the name OpenAI key like this. And I say that in the instructions. And once that's added in, you then just run this cell here, which will then load your API key, and it says prints out OpenAI key set up successfully. What we're going to do next is now load the Help Center articles, and OpenAI kindly made these available in their GitHub repo. This is what they look like. So it's just a few help articles. So one article here is about deleting a payment method, and these are, like, from what I can tell, the real help articles that OpenAI uses. Setting up prepaid billing, VAT exemption request. So what the code is going to do is basically download those articles in the CSV file, and it's going to, I think, does it save it in here? No, maybe not. No, I didn't do that step. But basically, it's fetched those articles, and as you can see, those have been saved in a data frame, and you can see that the articles are just, the previews of the articles are loaded here, just so you can see that it's worked. Now what we're going to do is set the prompt for O1 to use to convert those help articles into these routines, these sets of instructions. As you can see, this is a pretty detailed prompt. So kind of gives a little bit of background as to the role of the of what O1 is doing in this situation. So your helpful assistant tasked with taking an external facing help center article and converting it into internal facing programmatically executable routine optimized something or other. And then here you can see it's given the instructions to O1. So review the document carefully, organize into instructions logically step by step, use the following format, and you can read through all of this, and basically it sets out what O1 should deliver to us, so that the output routine can be used programmatically within an agentic system. So we're just going to run that cell, and we can see that's done. Now we're going to run one of the first parts to start the routine creation process. So this kind of loads the prompt and the content. So we run that. And then we're going to process the articles in relation to that prompt. So we run that. And that is going to take a little bit of time to run, because O1 is a powerful model and it does things methodically. And actually, let me just, yeah, still running. I'm going to clear the output of that below cell because I had run this earlier. Anyway, so it's still running. And actually, one of the things that you have to kind of keep in mind about O1 is going to be the kind of model I think that you use for quite specific tasks. So if you're looking at using this in production, you may find that actually using O1 for this kind of thing could be pretty helpful, because it could help you turn a bunch of natural language content into these routines that could be used programmatically within, wider AI systems that you might be building. When I ran this prompt originally, I it was my first prompt that I ran for O1 in the API, and when I ran it, I went and checked how much it cost, and that cost me about $1.27. So the thing about O1 is, like, if you're using it for prompting or these kind of activities, you want to be pretty sure of what you want to get out of it, and you want to be pretty thorough in your prompts. And as we can see from above, in this example, they use a pretty thorough and comprehensive prompt. So we've run that. Now we're going to display the results. Let's see what we've come back with. And here we are. These are the results. So these results aren't necessarily, like, this isn't the easiest way to see the results, but I think you'll kind of get a sense of what this can do. So right here we can see the first policy. So the first article was about deleting payment methods. And here, this is the original content. It says, how do I delete my payment method? Updated a week ago. We keep payment method on file. It's a it's help article, and then it's got like conditions around, okay, if you're using ChatGPT, this is what happens for deleting payment method. If you're using the API, these are the conditions around using it. Now, if you wanted to turn that into some kind of automated process for maybe an AI assistant in the platform handling those type of questions, you would effectively have to kind of work out the logic and the pathing of that and turn that into code. But what O1 does in this instance is create this routine, which again, OpenAI is saying can be used potentially programmatically to enable AI-powered assistants. So, for example, ChatGPT 4 Mini to be able to potentially execute this. So here you can see they kind of break down the article into step-by-step instructions. So ask the customer, could you please provide the email address associated with your OpenAI account? This will help me assist you further. Once the customer provides the email address, call the get account type email address function. Function definition, get account email address retrieves the customer's account type, ChatGPT Plus subscriber or API user, based on the provided email address parameters email address. So what this is saying to the AI assistant that might be using this is you need to clarify what kind of customer this is, and then run potentially API calls to internal systems in OpenAI to retrieve specific information about that user to determine whether they're a ChatGPT Plus or an API user. And within that, in order to run those API calls or those internal tool calls, these are the pieces of information that you're going to need to use that. So the email address in this instance. And then we can see the conditional pathing. It says, if the customer's account type is ChatGPT Plus subscriber, then inform the customer, and then it will give the assistant effectively a pre-programmed script to tell the customer kind of how to proceed. So to stop further charges, you can cancel your ChatGPT Plus subscription at any time. Provide the following steps to cancel the subscription. Click on my plan. Anyway, and as you can see, like, all of the steps relating to this article are broken down in a really nice sequential way. And I've kind of played around with chat-based examples of like automating things with APIs, and that kind of stuff can get pretty complicated to do. Working out the pathing of it, and there have been ways to kind of work this out before, but I could see how these kind of routines that O1 produces could really, really fast track creating a system around this and being able to basically orchestrate and steer agents to be able to handle natural language queries from customers or users of a platform, and be able to kind of either deliver actions for them by an assistant or path them through certain decisioning routes. And I think OpenAI even say, like, look, you would probably also build into this a route whereby the LLM also understands when it can't resolve a situation, and will then defer that conversation or that interaction to a human in the loop of some kind as well. So I mean, that's it. I've also added a little bit in here, export that routine to a CSV file as well. I find it actually a little bit easier to kind of look at in a CSV file. You may find that easier as well. You may want to have a go at potentially connecting this up to maybe some of your own internal documentation, maybe some of your own API schemas, if you kind of work on a system of some kind. And yeah, overall, I really like this example. It gives me a really nice sense of what O1 can be capable of, and how O1 can potentially be a really, really powerful enabler for creating pretty sophisticated agentic systems pretty quickly and scaling them really well. All right, that's the overview. I hope you find this notebook useful. I found it useful. And yeah, I'll hopefully be putting another thing like this together again soon. And cool. See you later.